Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Jason Geiman, a business coach who scaled his pressure washing company to over 1 million in annual revenue within 4 years through hands-on strategies in lead generation, operations, and team building. He now equips over 500 entrepreneurs with hands-on tactics for launching and growing pressure washing and Christmas lights installation businesses through targeted coaching programs. As captain of the Boone County Water Rescue Team, he channels his hands-on intensity and experience from high-pressure operations to mentoring service owners towards sustainable profitability. With that being said, Jason, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm excited for this podcast and what we're about to do today.
I'm excited too, man. It's great to have you on the podcast. So thank you so much for taking the time. We're going to jump right into this. And what I love to do with every single one of my guests is a bit of traveling back in time. So before you even had these businesses, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation to start it?
So going back in time, I was a diesel mechanic by trade. I actually went to college for diesel mechanics and I was really good with my hands. And so I was a diesel mechanic and I worked on fire trucks. And there was a point that I was a full-time firefighter. And I was a full-time firefighter for Georgetown Fire Department for 13 years as a career fireman. And as a career fireman, I was sitting in my recliner as firemen do. And one of the fellow firefighters came in and was like, I'm going to start a pressure washing business. And this was in 2012. This was before you had the Facebook groups. This was before a lot of the YouTube stuff was out. And this was back in the old days of forum days. This was where there wasn't a lot of nice people in these forums when you were dealing with forums back in the day. And so I started to learn everything I could to do about pressure washing because I was like, this is a great thing. As a firefighter, I wasn't paid a whole lot. We were only making about $35,000 a year. So it wasn't like I was all this money to be able to do this. So I bootstrapped the pressure washing business. From there, I wanted to do my business year round because we're in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is not very good weather. And we only get about 8-9 months out of the year of doing pressure washing. And then so 2014, I decided to do Christmas lights with our business. And so with our business of doing pressure washing and Christmas lights, we grew that to doing over $1 million a year. And in 2018, I sold that business. And from there, I started teaching people how to start and growing Christmas lights and pressure washing businesses. And so now I've got people that, for instance, we just have a guy that did $1.2 million in a Christmas light business in just 3 short years. And so in 3 years, all he did is Christmas lights and he's gotten it to 1.2. He was a coach. I've got another guy that was a garbage man 5 years ago, and he hit $1 million last year also. So it's pretty cool to help people grow. And that's what when I look back into what I've done, I love helping people grow or being safe, whatever that might be.
Absolutely, man. I absolutely love this journey and also the offer, though, because as soon as I landed on your website and I was getting ready for the introduction and have you as a guest, I was just looking at the offer and I was like, listen, there's not that many people who call themselves a business coach and they can be so specific in terms of what they do, who they help, what they help them with. So this is really helpful when it comes to actually putting yourself in the position of authority and really be very clear on like what is it that we're looking for as the outcome of working together, right? So I absolutely love that. Obviously, we're gonna uncover every single step of how this works. And what I want to do first is just bring some clarity to our listeners in terms of what is your process in terms of qualifying the people that you even want to work with and start working with in the beginning. but also what does that client journey look like? So just go ahead and tell us all about it.
So a lot of it is I do help. So I've got probably more videos out there for Christmas lights and probably pressure washing videos that I've just given to help. Like if you want to learn how to grow this business, you can go on YouTube and you can find my videos, and there's plenty of videos out there to get to where you need to be at. And so that's kind of where I start at, is to get people into that. Obviously, I do have some memberships and some coaching and stuff, but my thing is my original goal when I started this was to help 1,000 people make $100,000 a year, because I believe that if you can help someone get to $100,000, you can literally change their life, and it is true. I've seen it over and over and over of people of, like I said, literally a garbage man working 60, 70 hours a week, making 60, $70,000 a year. And now he's doing well. His business did over 1 million. He's traveling. He's doing a lot of stuff that he would have never gotten to do with that. So for me to qualify people is you kind of got to get into my funnel and then just take action. My biggest thing with helping people is you have to take action. If you think that there's an easy button in business, there is no easy button in business. Do I still work a lot? Absolutely. But I love what I do, and I love helping other people. And the more people that I can help, the more exciting that makes me in the end of the day. Because yes, it is about making money, but at the end, it's not. It's what can I do to help other people be successful?
Yeah, I think the money comes as a byproduct of you actually having this kind of mindset, just helping as many people as possible. And I also love the way you put it though, because obviously when it comes to what you offer, pretty much anybody could reach out to you and get interested in how you can get them from point A to point B and running successfully those businesses. But what you're truly looking for is the alignment, right? So that's beautiful. And when we talk about the alignment with those clients that you have, and also retrospectively looking back at everybody that you work with, what would you say is the average duration that it really takes for you to work with those clients and set them up for success? How does it look like?
So the biggest thing I would say is with the alignment, people are going to align with me through my videos. Some people like me and some people don't, right? Some people like the way I sound because I'm from Kentucky. Some people don't. Some people like me because I'm not all dressed up in a suit and tie and coming at you that way. I'm like you. And so that's where I feel like I'm able to help people, because I'm not this person that, I feel like I'm full of myself more than what I am. And so that's where my goal is, to help people. Have I taken people's last dollars that they didn't have a whole lot of money? And the answer was yes. One of my first coaching clients, he was $500. It was one of my first ones. And, you know,
Mm.
a year later, his wife's sitting there crying at me and saying, in the past, I either had to pick between glasses or contacts, and this year we were able to buy both, and that's never happened in the past. And we've never been able to do what we've done. And he's doing $250,000-$300,000 a year part-time because he's still a full-time firefighter, and that's just unheard of at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, so when you spoke about, or you already gave us a little sneak peek in terms of what are the different offers that you have in place, but I really want to build some clarity on this. Obviously, there is a several different ways in which people get in touch with you and work with you. So how does it actually look like with the offer and the membership?
So I have just a membership, an open membership that basically I do once a week group coaching call with everybody. And it's just kind of a marketing Monday. I always talk about marketing because I feel like that's the number one thing that grows business in any year. And so I don't see that changing. And so if you don't know how to do marketing, yes, you can do word of mouth, but it's only going to get you so far. I believe that marketing is the key point in business. That's how I grew my business to 1 million, was in marketing. And if you do good marketing, sales kind of comes along with it. The sales will come with it at the end of the day. So I have that. I also have a program where it's more of a one-on-one with me. And then I do a lot of in-person training. So you can see behind me here, I have a scale model house so people can use the different equipment on roofs to make sure you don't fall off and how to do it. And it's typically a 2-day class. One day is all about the safety so you don't fall off and how to hang lights. And then the second day is more about how to do marketing and how to do sales, because I feel like a lot of people get into these businesses of pressure washing and Christmas lights and they learn all about the stuff, but they don't really learn the most important part. And that's the marketing and sales at the end of the day. If you don't know how to talk to people, especially with Christmas lights, people want to go sell the bulb. They want to talk about, we use C9s, and that people don't care about that. They care about the magic, right? How are you going to make them people feel when their kids come home? That feeling, and how do you sell that feeling to them? Because when they get that feeling, they'll keep buying from you over and over and over. But if you can sell the magic, it's amazing how, like I said, I've got a guy that he did 100, or he's at 1.2. I had a guy come to my training this year. He did $220,000. And I said, what was the secret that you learned from my class? He's like, selling the magic. That was the best thing I ever learned. Because if we can sell the magic and sell the feelings, because we know that 90% of people buy on feelings. And a lot of times we always want to sell the thing. And even pressure washing, we're not selling pressure washing. We're selling time. We're selling time with the family. We're selling safety. And these are things that we're selling. We're not selling the clean house. We're not selling lights. We're selling how beautiful your home is going to look with all these amazing lights, and when your kid comes home and has the biggest smile on his face that he'd ever seen. And yes, you will get to feel that. And that's the awesome thing that we're selling at the end of the day.
I think this takes a different level of awareness and also experience to see how much it actually does if you focus on the clarity behind what you do and how you do it and what you actually provide. Because like you said, it's all about the emotions and feelings that our clients are supposed to feel. So when it comes to this, I'm also curious, has this been like a self-taught journey for you, or have you hired somebody to actually help you with this?
Oh, it's been self-taught, but I've also invested a lot in myself. Like I've been to Burn Off, I've been to different people that, I'm always reading, Think and Grow Rich. I'm a big fan of that book. It's the mindset at the end of the day that grows businesses. The mindset that we tell ourselves, the mindset, when we wake up and talk to ourselves and how we talk to other customers, it's something that, and it's something, as I've coached people, I've seen it more and more. Like the one guy, he's got an accent. And some people would say, well, that's holding me back. And it literally drives him forward. And that's the cool thing about being able to help people grow their business. And, I've heard him on the conversation, and, he's smiling, and right, because if you're not smiling, people think, well, smiling don't mean nothing. It means so much, because people can feel that energy coming through the phone. And so these are the things that set you apart from your competitors at the end of the day. And I don't even look at them as competitors, because most of the time they don't answer their phone. They don't do the things that business needs to happen to make you money.
Very smart. I love this, man. Now, Jason, obviously, you talk to your clients about marketing and sales all day long. So I want to do the same thing here and see what you came up with when it comes to building and scaling this current project, when it comes to your consulting and coaching work. So when you look at the behind the scenes of the business and really what's happening with your own marketing and maybe specifically generating those contacts and leads, what is there? What is your strategy?
Consistency. Consistency is key. So in 2018, 2019, I actually learned from Shane Sams. He's another guy he taught about memberships and stuff. And I've learned a lot from him. And he's one that, I took a class. We actually went to Lexington and did a course with him. And from that day on, he's like, find something and be consistent with. And so when I did, it was originally it was 2 videos and 2 lives a week. And that first year, like it hockey sticked a lot. Like I was able to quit the fire department. I had a BHAG goal list in 2018, and we were able to write them all. We were able to uncheck all of them except one by 2020. And so the consistency is key at the end of the day. You know, if you want to help people, you've got to help them. And that's the key of giving it. And, you know, you kind of got to give your best stuff away, and then people will come and help you for the implementation of it at the end of the day. And so that was my key of growing this business, is consistently. And since then, has there been times I've not done videos? Sure, but I've done a live every Sunday night and Wednesday night since 2018. I could probably count on 2 hands how many times I've missed. Even on holidays, I'm always on Sunday night, Wednesday night live. That's either on, it's either through, Facebook, YouTube. I'm always on live, so people can ask me questions. People can do even through that. So.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. I want to circle back to something that you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, as you were talking about your clients' marketing and how you cannot really just count on word of mouth and referrals. Because this is a big thing. That's a big topic. You know, when it comes to this, obviously this is the best kind of lead that you could possibly get. I mean, if you let your work and your results speak for you, that's a quite easy deal to close. But at the same time, yes, it is very inconsistent, so people are frustrated about it. Now, when it comes to your own marketing, I'm also curious, have you dabbled into paid ads just to create something more scalable, predictable, or what is your experience or perspective on that?
I do like paid ads. That's what actually scaled my business. So like when I'm talking to a lot of my clients, is paid ads, is Google ads is what got me to where I was at, to
Mm.
be able to scale to 1 million. Um, I have not done a lot in this business of paid ads. I've done very few. I'm actually looking at doing more of it, but I've all been it's not really been word of mouth. It's been organically of it. And don't get me wrong, I think that moving forward, that networking, and I've said this quite a bit, networking and the word of mouth is something that's going to help. And yes, I love AI, but that's not the real person. And I feel like people are needing that realness a little bit. And so networking, I think, is a great key of growing a business, not just word of mouth, as in, you know, as in, what am I trying to say? As in, just I clean your house, it looks great, right? Yes, that's going to get us some leads, but that's not going to get us to where you want to be able to grow and scale.
Yeah, because there's not enough control over that, right? So you really have to be tactical and strategic about how you're going to get in front of the right people, but also doing it at the right time. So yeah, I mean, this is very complex, and I also would agree with the fact that it best works if you create this sort of like symbiosis, and it works together with the organic, with the paid ads, but also with you making an appearance. Whether it's public speaking, going to conferences, it's just much better when it works all together. So 100% agreed on that. I'm also curious though, because when I think about, taking all of those activities on a daily basis, that's a lot of work. So I'm curious, are you trying to keep it to maybe something more like smaller, sustainable, and just run it as a one-man show? Or is your goal to actually build up like full-blown internal teams, whether that's for marketing, sales, fulfillment, whatever the case might be?
I mean, in my personal business, I am planning on moving forward toward it, and I have a small team now, and then it's to grow it
Oh,
even more is my goal for this here. And it might be more for whatever, whether it's the selling of the Christmas lights, of help selling that, or the coaching side of it also.
I got you. So you already do have a small team.
I do, yes, yes,
Interesting. Yeah, because
yes.
delegation has really become like one of the most common topics on the podcast. Obviously, there is a lot of people struggling with this. Like what is the best timing for me to take the next step actually and create this sort of ecosystem that supports those people come in and join you. So, what is your philosophy on this? What was the pivotal moment?
I think that leadership is key in growing any business. And so it's one of the hardest things I feel like that a lot of people struggle with.
Mhm.
whether it's growing the Christmas light pressure washing business or even me growing this business. And one of the reasons why that I became captain of water rescue was to help me be able to become a better leader. Um, we have 50 members, and sometimes it can be easy, sometimes it can't. And so this is one of the reasons why I did that. And I've learned so much about leadership. And as I've watched and helped other people coach them through business, this is one of the things that I've seen people go up and down. And, I will tell people you will be the most profitable at what you and maybe a helper for to a certain point. But then that certain point is what happens if you get hit by a bus, then you've lost everything. And so, once you get to that point, you can be one person and get to $500,000 or $600,000. But from that 600 to 700,000 to about 1.2 is a really hard road to be able to get through, because that's going to be the road that isn't always easy to, because that's where you got to start hiring people, and you're hiring managers and you're hiring people that aren't making you money at the end of the day.
True. Jason, it seems like you're really putting those fundamentals in place that would essentially allow you to really grow this and scale this in the future, which also begs the question. Obviously, when it comes to one-on-one coaching model, there's only so many people that you can really serve on a daily basis. So, some professionals with similar projects, similar industries go into the world of, yeah, let me just get more coaches. They're going to work under me with the same methodology, and I can grow that way. Some go more into the world of group coaching because that is much more scalable. I'm curious, when you think about that scalable model that you're going to choose, what do you have in mind specifically?
I'm thinking group coaching more so than the getting other coaches. I feel like that the group coaching is something that's a little bit easier to
Mhm.
control and to um, help people, because I have built the brand of me kind of. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I've done other places where you get these other coaches. And sometimes I feel like you can get really good coaches, but sometimes I've seen people come out of those coaching programs and it's like, you've been in with this coaching program for 4 years and you're with this coach and you really haven't learned nothing. You're still sitting at this level.
I agree. I agree 100%. And I just realized that in the past 8 minutes, we were slowly getting into what's going to happen with the company next. So let's talk a little bit about the future and the goals that you have set for yourself, and maybe like the short-term goals. If you think about the next 6 to 12 months, what would you say really are the biggest targets, revenue you want to hit, milestones that you have set for yourself?
So that's a tough one. I mean, I my goal is to do double what I did this year, and that's one of my goals. And I believe that I've got some things that are down in the pipeline that I can't really say out loud too much, but I think that it's going to change the way things are. And not only that, it will allow me to double, but even triple. And so it is something that as I look at the future and start learning, this past year was a big learning year for me, even though I've been in business for a long time. I did a new platform with my Christmas light sales. I used to be an affiliate. This year I went to Shopify, so I had to learn the whole Shopify thing. And that was something that was not as easy as I thought it would be. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at in the future of where I'm going to be at. My goal, like, originally was to help 1,000 people make $100,000. Now it's more like help 10,000 people make $100,000, because I know I've hit the 1,000 people. It's like, how do we keep growing this thing to help more people grow their businesses?
Yeah, the future is bright here. That's for sure. You want to impact a lot of people, and I absolutely love it. What would you expect to maybe even stand in the way? Like when you think about achieving those goals, what would you expect to become the biggest challenge of making that happen?
So I have looked at, I don't know, there was a book I read not a couple years ago. I write a number down basically of what you would sell it for. And, I never realized that that could even be a possibility. But as I look at the future, it is a possibility. I've already had some people want to buy my group, and, that I would have never thought that would happen. And so there is a possibility of it. And, I've actually had this conversation with my wife of like, what am I going to do when I retire? And I don't really see me retiring because I just love helping people. I'm going to help people one way or another, whether that's probably still through coaching. It might not be the pressure washing Christmas lights in the future. But I plan on doing this probably for the next 5 to 10 years and just, what can I do to help people grow their business?
Absolutely. Jason, this is exciting though. I absolutely love the project. I love the journey. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you so much for taking the time today, sharing this story with me and our audience here and being a part of our journey as well. I really appreciate that. And if anybody from the listeners would like to get in touch with you and perhaps one day even work with you, how should they go about it?
You can reach out. I've got christmaslights.io. That's where I have a lot of my Christmas stuff. If you're wanting to learn how to do Christmas lights, getting into a seasonal business that makes six figures, or King of Pressure Wash is my other one that there. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook tech is a little bit easier to get to me. I check it a little bit more. So
Beautiful. Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you on.
thank you.
Love it. Now to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from 0 to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.